and it's worth $300, and it's from the Hobeika Law Firm, giving away $300 of Joe Hobeika's money, and let's give some away today. We had a couple of questions yesterday that I thought totally were doable, and although I still go places where people criticize me over the questions, and it just really is annoying. That's all I'm going to say. It's annoying. So the one that I keep hearing criticism over is the filibuster question. What was that question? Do you remember what that question was? I could pull it up and find it.
What presidential candidate had held a filibuster that lasted 18? I don't know. That's as far as I think I'm going to remember.
Is known for a famous filibuster, something to that effect. And
it was leading. It was going to lead you to believe that it was
Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz, when in reality the answer to that question was actually
Bernhard Sanders.
Yeah.
Bernhard Sanders,
who, by the way, is burning quite easily right now. With Hillary winning the D.C. promo, he's kind of a log that's reached to the end of its fiery state. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I don't know. Everybody's looking at Cleveland for the protests. There might be protests at the Democratic National
Well, there
Convention.
could be, yeah. Although, again, with her winning, as she has won in these last primaries, I think it's sealed the deal for her. It's taken. Had Bernie Sanders won, I don't know, California, New Jersey, and won D.C., and really, it would have been a very difficult position, I think, for Hillary to be able to walk in and say, "Well, I still have more delegates, pledged delegates," because she would have lost so many primaries to Bernie Sanders.
But she still has.
I think she has, but I think it was a must-win. Listen, it's how you walk out the door. It's not what's going on while you're inside, right? Because sometimes by the time you walk out the door, you've forgotten about those things that happened. Maybe you did something wrong or you broke a glass, but you've made amends. And when you leave, things are good, and you promise them all free stuff, and everybody's happy again.
And that's an excellent way of putting it, how you walk out the door. I had a conversation with somebody in Washington yesterday, and he said, Bernie Sanders kind of lost his chance to have an impact when he met with President Obama. He should have just decided to walk out of the race then, because that was the moment of his greatest political power within
You're
the
right.
DNC.
It was about to fizzle, and that is exactly walking out the door. It's how you end.
Yeah.
And
now he's
and it's with
gone.
everything. You go to a comedy show, he can be funny, but if that last joke ain't funny, you're going to walk out with that somewhat sour taste in your mouth that it wasn't overly funny. And it's a terrible comparison, comedy to politics, but actually it's the most amazing comparison when you really look at what goes on in Washington and what goes on in Albany. All right, Herkimer, let's talk about what we do know. There is a former policeman, former police officer in the city of Utica. He was found dead yesterday in an apartment. And what we can tell you, and I'm hearing a lot of rumblings, I don't know what I can say without getting myself in trouble. But that always makes everybody comfortable.
Usually not a good sign.
But let's just say this is off Main Street in the village of Herkimer. And I was speaking with some people yesterday, and it's been on the record, and officials have actually talked about it, so I guess I probably can. But this apartment building has some real history that how places might have a history of 911 calls, a history of maybe certain activity. This place has some pretty rough. This is a pretty rough apartment building, from what we're hearing. I hope I'm okay saying that, but that's what I'm getting. And we know that the man was found dead. Police are not saying much, except that the word suspicious has really been tossed around.
And there's just a lot of stuff, and really caution everyone on social media, because there are so many rumors flying right now. So just until it comes from police, we are not going to report it.
And I would expect that something will come out of the DA's office and police down there at some point today. Utica OD has a big story on the Muslim issue, and their story is about Islam has no time, no space for violence. And, of course, the one big mosque in Utica is over by City Hall, And that brings up that story that someone had done. And I keep lingering in there and wanting to do something about that story about it's someone suggesting, a blogger suggesting stay clear of Utica, New York, because they welcome more Muslims, but more refugees than anyone else. They talk about a Christian church that was transformed into a Muslim mosque and talk about it in a very demeaning way. Stay out of Utica. This is what Trump's talking about. Stay clear of Utica. Is that fair?
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is at all.
It's not even close. It's so. I think this city has done such a great job in dealing with immigrants and with refugees. They also cite the lawsuit against the Utica School District. I mean, this is just it is a terrible, a terrible presentation on Utica. If you're thinking about moving to this area, and you had any worry about border issues and immigration and refugees, boy, you certainly wouldn't want to come here.
And it's such an unjust characterization. If anything, when I leave here, I'm really going to miss the diversity of this area, not just the city. Of course, I live in Utica, so and my daughter and son were in the public school system here, and that's one of the things that we've discussed is the lack of diversity where we're going, and that we will miss it here. And if there's anything that I can do, I pledge to you that I will be an ambassador for Utica.
Yeah. That's pretty
from Mississippi.
Pretty awesome from those people in Mississippi.
But it's just such a mischaracterization. You don't know unless you're here how great it is.
And the Muslims, many of the Muslims in Utica are Bosnians who fled a very difficult, very terrible situation, and they landed here in Utica. And they really have done an amazing job. I think that population has done a great job transforming that Cornhill area. And really building up that Cornhill area. It's really it's incredible. I have to tell you that there are Burmese, many Burmese, and they have incredible colors and gowns that it's different attire. And I have to say I was very upset with that group. There were 4 of them when I took my daughter bowling over at Panorama, and they came in. And they were bowling, and to me, it was like, the Amish drive when you're on the thruway. When you see that, I kind of had that moment. And let me just tell you something: these guys kicked my rear end. They were incredible bowlers.
In bowling?
Yeah. Where do you learn bowling from? Apparently here.
The Burmese bowling Olympic team.
These Burmese people were incredible bowlers. That's all I'm going to tell you. Here's Christine with an update. 6:46. You ever bowled, Christine?
I have to follow Burmese bowling.
Burmese bowling. I would want them on my bowling team.